Hey guys, and welcome to Relationship Chronicles. Today we have a cheating revenge story from one of my subscribers that I will walk you through with, and afterwards I'll give my opinion and advice to this subscriber on how to deal with this situation. Here we go. My ex-wife wants me to support her affair child because her boyfriend dumped her and is being difficult with child support. Advice. This is long, I had to vent sorry. Long story short, I married my ex-wife young. We were together for 10, married for 6. I found out she was cheating on me back in 2014. One morning, she came back from an appointment all happy and told me I was going to be a father for a third time. I had known for a couple of months up until this point, and it made me sick getting intimate with her. We hadn't had sex in over 5 months, and she told me she was 10 weeks along, which is when I told her I knew everything. She tried denying it, and when her telling everyone that conception date, it was shaky. She could never get it right. She didn't really realize how sloppy she got and assumed that when I suspected her cheating, I wouldn't snoop. So I left her. I got hate from her family. But after sending them the photos, only her brother and father apologized. My ex-wife cut them both off after that. She begged me to come back, but I refused. And within the month, she moved her affair partner, and I found this out from our kids. Our divorce was extremely difficult, but after a year, I was finally free from her. I focused my life on work and the kids, and everything seemed great. I meet my now fiancée 3 years after leaving my ex. She had been divorced in the last year and had 2 girls, 5 and 1. I loved her, and the kids, and both my kids loved spending time with these girls as well. 18 months later, we move in together and we became our own family unit. In August, I proposed to my fiancée and she said yes, both of us elated to finally be with someone who truly made us happy. The kids know and are now super excited. I had to tell my ex, and up until this point, she was respectful to my wife. But once she heard we were getting married, something changed with I still talked to her brother. And what he told me was, she became obsessed with getting married and brought it up several times with her boyfriend. This caused him to leave her. He became difficult with paying child support for their son. Me and EX had kept her things friendly for our kids, and I offered to find her a lawyer that wasn't expensive. I knew a few, so thought I could make her searching easy for her. The thing is, I gave her the number of someone, but told me she wasn't sure she wanted to cause more drama. I told her that her ex still had priorities to stick to. He shouldn't walk away and do the right thing. A couple of days later, she texted me and asked if I was willing to give her extra money each month for her child. I told her that he wasn't my child, and I gave her enough for the other kids. Anyway, she made it a point I pay for things for my fiancé's kids all the time, and how it seemed weird. I would do that while allowing you to also call me dad. That was their choice. The youngest was still young, didn't understand. She never made her bio dad, and the oldest just one day started calling me dad after watching her sister do it for months. The truth is, sometimes I was paying for small things for the girls, but my fiancé handled everything else for them. But my ex saw this as a huge problem and acts like I am now loaded with money. The truth is, I haven't responded to her since she said that to me. But no, she will bring it up this weekend when dropping off the kids. I don't want to get legal involved like I did with a divorce because I will be left emotional drain. She doesn't understand the word no too well either. Is there any way I could do this without constant fight or arguing with her? I will have this though I am legally on the birth certificate. I fought for that when she tried to put her down, even getting legal involved with this woman. She acts like no laws exist and will fight until one of us dies from her crap. Unless supporting the children is something you want to do. I tell her to counsel. I can't imagine she has any real legal recourse. Take care of you and yours and do what you think is right. Make sure you can live with the choice you make and you'll be just fine. It's possible in some states that if he's established himself as the father by giving her child support him, you'd be on the hook for it forever. Before we continue, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. It's ridiculous. But it's like those laws that if you are married, it's your kid, even if genetically it isn't true facts. She'd have to try and push the issue, though, and demonstrate that the other assumed father is not in fact the father or had not also had some involvement. I'd make her push the issue, to be honest. That can be the case, but there are certain circumstances that remove the responsibility from the husband and put it on the biological father. Typically, the court is going to try and figure out what's best for the kid, regardless of other factors, and handle it that way. That being said, the mother would have to have the wherewithal and resources to go after it. If I had no desire to cough up the money or an inability to cough up the money, I'd refuse and see what happens. Oh me, this is an awful situation. What a horrid woman. What she'd done to you is awful. I commend you for finding the strength to leave her even with kids in the equation. If your name is not in the birth certificate and they are not your child, then she has more hope getting blood from a stone. You are not legally bound to pay her anything for that child, only your own. I hope things settle so you can live the rest of your life in peace. I suppose she got nasty when she found out you were getting married because you were moving on. She was to blame and didn't want to accept it, and then when you left, she didn't like it. Now she's being difficult and spiteful. The law is on your side here, though. Good luck. I am confused. Who is the father on the birth certificate? What country is this in? The legal issues here could be super complicated. If you think you don't owe her anything, then just don't pay for anything. She has a point about you paying for stepchildren. She is still the mother of your children. I remember when I was a kid, my dad would make a point of having my mom somehow prove that the money he gave her was only for me and not for my sister, who was not his child. It was the most humiliating experience of my life, and I hated my dad so much for being so mean to my sister, who I lived with me and who I loved so much. He didn't give any more than legally required or anything, but even the money he gave for me was scrutinized and came with caveats. You might need a lawyer if she pursues an order of support. If you're on the birth certificate, depending on your jurisdiction, you could be considered the legal father, especially if you were still married when the child was born, and could be on the hook for child support. In that case, you'd need to dispute it and get the court to order a paternity test. Head over to our /legalityvise, and I'm sure they could point you in the right direction. One morning, she came back from an appointment all happy and told me I was going to be a father for a third time. I had known for a couple of months up until this point, and it made me sick getting intimate with her. We hadn't had sex in over 5 months, and she told me she was 10 weeks along. Whose name did she put on the birth certificate? Did you contest it right from the beginning and make sure she put her affair partner's name instead of yours? If you didn't, it has been 6 years since she gave birth, and the court may oblige you to continue paying for the child, as that would be in the child's best interest anyways. I fought, and her ex's name is on it. Then have your lawyer contact her and tell her no. Upset, he didn't want legal involved. Dude, he said that he didn't want to because he was tired and that she was willfully ignorant. Maybe respect Ope's wants and try to work with what he's giving us. Also, if you didn't read the last part of our story, you can just come out and say it. No need to act like the Chinese Communist Party and try and paper over your mistake with bluff and bluster, LOL. Your analogy is incorrect, because you're mentioning a scenario where a doctor is clearly the only viable course of action, OPS cases, less like a gaping wound and more like a scratch, and you're asking him to see a surgeon instead of a general practitioner, or instead of putting antiseptic on it. Could a surgeon deal with it? Undoubtedly. But so could a general practitioner. There are many ways to solve up situation without having to get a specialist involved. Many more effective and cost-effective ways. Maybe you would care to put your money where your mouth is and pay for that lawyer, as well as fly over to sit with him. Slasher talk is cheap. Off asked for advice within the parameters he is comfortable with. You are stating something bafflingly obvious here. Off has already thought about this at length and decided he does not wish to seek legal counsel. If you are unable to give advice that is usable to the OP, maybe you should refrain from giving advice at all. This sub isn't here for people to state the obvious. I fout, and her ex's name is on it. then you can proceed with a clear conscience. I don't want to get legal involved like I did with a divorce because I will be left emotional drain. She doesn't understand the word note well either. Note it fro. Is there any way I could do this without constant fight or arguing with her? Exactly. Don't even engage her. Avoid her at every turn. The moment she starts yelling or fighting at you, tell her calmly that you are going to hang up until she calms down and that the money she needs for the other kids, which are yours and those other kids, only will be sent to her via bank transfer. Make the transfer and make sure you keep the electronic and paper records. She will get the message if she starts trying to confront you, hide and hunker down. If she actually stops you at your home, call the cops and have her dragged away. No need legal for this. It's free. Don't talk to her. Disengage, disengage, disengage the moment she starts raising her voice. There's no need to reason with someone like this. Just condition her like you would a very badly behaved seal. Let's move on to my thoughts and advice for the person that is dealing with this problem. Your situation is undoubtedly challenging, and it's commendable that you've navigated it with resilience. It's crucial to prioritize the well-being of your own family, especially since you've built a stable and loving environment with your fiancé and her children. While your ex-wife may make unreasonable demands, standing firm on your boundaries is essential. If she insists on financial support for her affair child, consider consulting a lawyer to explore your legal rights without letting it emotionally drain you. Your dedication to your current family and commitment to maintaining a peaceful environment are commendable. I wish you the best of luck moving forward. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on what happened. Take care.